what are you supposed to do? What do you recommend doing when you're not in a leadership or senior leadership position in your organization? How can you help bring Arbinger to your organization?
One of the great things about focusing on organizational culture and how we relate to other people and the kind of things that the Arbinger material and the focus on mindset gives us, it gives us an opportunity and gives us some tools that we can apply at the individual level, but all the way up to the enterprise level. So some programs you might bring in might need a critical mass. They might need, some number of people on board. You might need to actually have an initiative that says we're going to roll this particular program out through 30% of our organization or 100% of our organization or something. So the more behavioral the program is, the more likely it is that you need some sort of a critical mass, I think, to make it work as effectively as the proponents would suggest it could. With the material that Arbinger brought to the fore, or just generally material where we're focusing on organizational culture, you don't have to do that. You don't have to wait. So I guess for Julio, I would say you don't need anybody's permission, that this can be started with one person. And I'm aware of some examples from reading Arbinger material and talking to folks. I'm aware of some really interesting and almost remarkable examples where some pretty significant changes ultimately rolled out, and they started from one person who just happened to say this is important. So I guess that's the longer answer. The short answer is decide this is important, realize the benefit that it brings to you personally, even if nobody else is engaged in it, and try to live your life in accordance with the principles and see what happens.
Great advice there. In fact, as you talk, I think that, within the Bureau of Public Debt, who is the employee of yours that gave you the book? Amy. And so perhaps Amy was asking a similar question: how do I help my organization? And one employee, Amy, giving the book to a leader was helpful in allowing that transformation to occur.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, it's been a while since I've talked to Amy, but since we were doing this over a number of years, I'd find myself out in our West Virginia office, and I'd run into Amy, and she would just sort of say, I either see her and talk to her, we'd see her across the hall or something, and we'd wave, and she would be happy with the way things turned out. And so I talked to her on a couple of occasions about, man, thank you, I really appreciate this. And she, of course, remembered back to when she gave me the book. And I said, what prompted you to do that? I said, she said, well, I didn't know. She said, I had found it meaningful personally. And her statement was, and I thought, well, if anybody could figure out what to do with this within our bureau, where she thought it would have value, if anybody could figure out a way to, what to do with this, it would be Van. And so it was her presenting me with the book. Now, she didn't give me a challenge. She just said, here's a book. And she said later, well, it turned out you did know what to do with it. So I thought, okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Glad I was paying attention.
That's great.